Ever ponder why some activities might cause your feet to feel numb? What if I told you that several typical exercises that you've been told are healthy might really be making your numbness worse? You might believe it's just age or a small annoyance. Even worse, they can be robbing you of your independence, raising your danger of falling, and subtly harming your nerves. I know from experience that not all activity is beneficial, especially as we age, having traveled the route of life for many decades. I want to address my fellow seniors, those who are 60, 70, and older, directly and honestly today. We need to preserve our remaining strength and mobility. Knowing which exercises to avoid is the first step in that process. Let's get straight to the 5 workouts that are negatively impacting your feet and future in a silent manner. Before we begin, I advise you to click the button and activate the bell if you haven't already, so you don't miss any further personalized health advice. Type 1 in the comments if you like this video. If not, input 0 to tell me how I can improve your material. First, stationary bicycling, particularly recumbent bikes. For many elderly people, the stationary bike is a comfortable and safe way to work out indoors without running the danger of falling. With its smooth pedals and supporting backrest, the recumbent bike in particular seems like the ideal option for aging joints. While we pedal and sit, we convince ourselves that we are making progress. However, what if I told you that the danger lurks in this very comfort? We frequently fail to realize that prolonged use of these devices puts strain on some of the most delicate nerves in our lower body, particularly the sciatic nerve, which extends from our lower spine to our hips and down to our feet. It doesn't take long for you to experience that recognizable tingling or numbness in the tips of your toes or soles of your feet when this nerve is crushed or irritated. A small sensation can gradually develop into something much more dangerous, such as nerve damage that deteriorates over time and deprives you of confidence, balance, and sensation. However, it doesn't end there. Long-term use of a stationary bike can cut off crucial blood flow to the lower limbs, exacerbating and prolonging numbness in seniors who also have diabetes, poor circulation, or spinal problems. It's a symptom that something is wrong with your body, not merely discomfort. Additionally, when our feet become numb, we are unable to respond, walk correctly, or sense pressure or pain. This creates the conditions for accidents, falls, and a series of health issues from which we might not be able to recover quickly. I've known friends, strong, athletic, and resolute friends, who ended up in rehab centers for no other reason than that their foot didn't work. They were unable to sense the edge of the stairs, the mat, or the curb. Why? Because numbness's warning symptoms were disregarded. Because they continued to perform routines that subtly reduced their strength. I do not intend to frighten you, dear reader. Its purpose is to softly but firmly wake you up. You underestimate the wisdom of your body. Additionally, it is requesting change rather than resistance when it whispers through tingling toes. The next question is, what are we doing to ourselves without realizing it? The next typical exercise that discreetly applies pressure to your spine rather than your feet may surprise you. Let's examine it more closely. Please let me know in the first remark below if you're still watching and finding these insights useful. Let's now discuss point number 2. 2. Forward bends and toe touches. Toe touches appear innocuous at first, sometimes even beneficial. Something you've done since you were a kid that seems to help you stay flexible and loosen up your body. We've all been urged to maintain our flexibility as we age, and many of us heed this advice, thinking that bending forward every day will help prevent stiffness. For seniors, however, the reality is more nuanced and, to be honest, much more perilous. The spine grows less forgiving as we age. The lower back's discs get dehydrated, the distance between vertebrae gets smaller, and nerves are more susceptible to compression. The lower spine is put in a susceptible position when you bend down rapidly or reach forward in a deep toe touch, especially if you're not supported properly. In the time, it could feel like a nice stretch, but what's really occurring is that spinal nerves, which regulate sensation in your legs, ankles, and feet, may be pinched. Not all of the time does this pinching cry out in agony. There are times when it's silent, just a slight buzzing sensation in the foot, an odd numbness in the toes, or the sensation of walking on cotton. And that numbness might become a recurring visitor once it starts. Some men and women I know began their days stretching as usual, and after a few weeks or months, they discovered that they could no longer feel their feet properly. What started off as a routine turned into the cause of long-term nerve damage. The ease with which this type of harm can go unnoticed is particularly concerning. Numbness is dismissed as a sign of inadequate circulation. We tell ourselves it's a natural aspect of growing older. In actuality, though, these forward bends are endangering your freedom. The spine can be negatively impacted in ways that affect the entire body with only one badly performed stretch or minor misalignment. I say this to protect, not to fear. Every activity should benefit you rather than merely stretch you when you're over 60. Stability is what you need, not stress. Your back needs kinder treatment because it is not what it used to be. Imagine what repeated jumping and pounding on hard surfaces can do to your feet, especially if something as simple as touching your toes could cause nerve damage. This is especially true if you are unable to detect the warning symptoms until it is too late. Together, let's find the next concealed danger. Third step aerobics, high-impact aerobics, and jumping jacks. At one point in our life, we felt powerful and alive while we were moving quickly, perspiring profusely, and leaping high. Motion was celebrated in the era in which we grew up. Keep moving and stay youthful with jazzercise lessons, step workouts, and TV shows that include bold promises and lively music. However, nobody warned us at the time that the very movements we supported as children could turn into silent devastation in our older years. When you're over 60, high-impact activities like step aerobics or jumping jacks might actually be detrimental, particularly if you already have neuropathy, foot numbness, or thinning fat pads on the soles of your feet. A shock travels up through the feet, into the knees, and deep into the spine with every leap and hard landing. Additionally, these hits can result in micro-damage that builds up over time in already frail nerves, making numbness more harmful and permanent. The saddest part is that a lot of seniors follow these routines out of optimism and discipline. They ignore their agony in the hopes of remaining strong, but they can be causing irreparable harm. One woman I knew was in her late 70s, energetic, dedicated, and attended a group aerobics class 3 times a week. "I don't want to slow down," she added. However, she started to lose sensation in her toes after a few months. The instability followed. Next came the fall, all because she was unaware that each exercise was weakening her foundation due to those rapid hammering steps. You see, these workouts aren't necessarily immediately dangerous. Numbness develops gradually. The body adjusts to discomfort, conceals it, and persuades us to continue. However, we lose the opportunity to preserve what is still functional when we disregard the hints of hurting joints or tingling feet. And even crossing the kitchen floor becomes dangerous once our senses are gone. Being active is important, but our movement patterns need to change. Instead of hurting us, movement should now cure us. If you think it's dangerous to pound your feet on the floor, consider the consequences of standing on one leg, maintaining the position, and making your foot support your entire body weight. The following exercise may be the most unsettling of them, despite its elegant appearance. Please let me know in the first remark below if you're still watching and finding these insights useful. Let's go on to point number 4 now. Fourth tree pose, warrior pose, and other prolonged standing yoga poses have long been hailed for their soothing, healing effects. Many elders find it to be the ideal fusion of movement and awareness, a gentle method of maintaining a connection to the body. Indeed, yoga has therapeutic benefits. However, not every yoga pose is suitable for older bodies, particularly ones that require standing on one foot for extended periods of time. Even if they have a lovely appearance, poses like warrior or tree can subtly become traps for people who already have foot numbness or instability. Many people are unaware that standing in one of these positions for an extended period of time, supporting all of your weight on one foot, puts additional strain on the tiny, frequently weak nerves in your ankles and feet. This is a surefire way to make numbness worse for someone in their 60s or 70s, especially if they already have arthritis or neuropathy. It involves more than just losing your equilibrium. It involves depriving your nerves of oxygen, overloading them, and causing them to malfunction. Additionally, the feeling in your feet diminishes like a fading light when the nerves give out. The ground below you starts to feel strange and unreliable. Now, safety is more important than strength alone. I once met a dedicated and proud retired firefighter who practiced yoga to get back into shape. He was an expert at all the poses. However, his right foot began to gradually become numb from the silent labor of maintaining such standing positions for an extended period of time. He eventually lost the ability to feel the floor as he was walking. His life altered with one misplaced step off a curb. Months of rehabilitation, a fractured hip, and the sobering conclusion that the stance that had once given him strength had actually exposed his body's limitations. Balance becomes sacred as we get older. However, that does not imply that we have to sacrifice our health in order to preserve it. Stability can be developed in safer ways that take into account the changes in our joints, nerves, and blood flow. Yoga isn't bad for you. All we have to do is modify it to fit the stage of life we are in. Standing safely is significantly more important than standing tall. What about the one exercise that most of us perform without consideration if silent postures can have such a significant impact on your nerve health? Strolling. Particularly when done for an extended period of time, on unforgiving surfaces, and in shoes that don't support us. Because it's probably a part of your everyday routine, the last hidden threat might surprise you. 5 long treks while wearing inappropriate footwear. Strolling. It appears to be the most straightforward and secure type of workout. Wellness articles laud it, doctors advise it, and many of us adopt it as a daily routine. As we put on our shoes, we convince ourselves that we are taking care of our thoughts, our joints, and our hearts. But what if I told you that even something as simple and natural as walking, just putting one foot in front of the other, can become dangerous if we're not mindful of how, where, and most importantly, what we're stepping on? Our feet's structure varies with age. Arches may collapse. The tiny nerves in our feet may become more sensitive, or worse, they may begin to die, and the fat pads that formerly cushioned each step start to diminish. Walking long distances without appropriate footwear, shoes that provide adequate cushioning, arch support, and a broad enough toe box not only invites discomfort, but also creates the conditions for gradual nerve injury. The tibial and plantar nerves, which run along the sole and into the toes, are particularly vulnerable to compression from improper footwear. Over time, such compression causes tingling, numbness, and the unnerving sensation that your feet are disconnected from the rest of your body. Nerve irritation, inflammation, and loss of balance are all made worse by the repetitive stress of walking on hard concrete, uneven sidewalks, or slick flooring. Every morning, rain or shine, I would go for a walk with my neighbor, a gentle man in his early 80s. He was wearing sneakers that he had owned for years, believing them to be comfy and broken in. However, his feet's numbness gradually worsened. He trod on a tiny stone, although he was unaware of it. The blister that was developing from the seam pressing against his heel was invisible to him. A minor cut had developed into a serious infection by the time he sought medical attention. He was hurt by anything other than the walk. It was the unprotected stroll. You see, it's only safe to walk when your senses are intact and your feet are properly supported. More than just sensation is taken away when numbness sets in. It takes away our consciousness, which is what keeps us upright, secure, and in charge. Therefore, consider whether your shoes are helping you or subtly hurting you before you go tomorrow. You may be asking yourself, what can we do safely now that we've discovered these hidden dangers? Is it possible to maintain our strength, adaptability, and equilibrium without jeopardizing the aspects of ourselves that we most depend on? Let's examine the exercises that genuinely respect and support the aging body. What you should do. Instead, it's normal to feel unsure, perhaps even disheartened, after learning about the workouts that might be damaging your nerves and feet. If I shouldn't be riding my bike, stretching, jumping, or even walking for too long, what else am I supposed to do? There's still a lot you can do, I assure you. Staying active isn't enough, though. You also need to move wisely and with compassion for the body you've worked so hard to build over the years. We no longer need to demonstrate our strength in this chapter of our lives. It's about selecting exercise that honors an aging body's wisdom and fragility. It all comes down to doing activities that support rather than test your nerves, that rejuvenate your joints rather than wear them out. You may definitely receive that kind of care because you deserve it. Adopt a mild, supported movement style first. For instance, chair yoga lets you stretch and take deep breaths without straining your feet or spine. We all need greater room in our bodies and a calmer nervous system, which it provides. Alternatively, consider water-based workouts like water aerobics or swimming. Without putting too much strain on your feet, the water helps you support your weight, reduce joint pain, and improve circulation. For elders, it's among the safest and most revitalizing types of exercise. As long as you wear appropriate footwear that fits your feet properly and provides adequate support, even a quick daily walk of 10 or 15 minutes can be therapeutic. Not only soft shoes, but shoes made specifically for elderly feet. Even if you don't immediately notice the difference, your body does. Then there is Tai Chi, a gentle exercise that enhances inner peace, balance, and coordination. Simple, attentive movement, no pounding or jumping. People in their 80s who had feared they would never regain their confidence have started practicing Tai Chi. Above all, pay attention to your body at all times. Preserving is the aim, not pushing. When in doubt, consult a physical therapist who is knowledgeable about the requirements of senior citizens. They can create a plan based on your objectives and condition. Doing more is not the goal of movement. Today, it's about taking care of your body. For many more years to come, let's select physical activities that respect our aging bodies, safeguard our nerves, and grant us the gift of secure independence. Last words. A senior's message to another senior. I have learned a lot as I've aged. It has taught me the value of being present, the beauty of slowing down, and the silent strength of wisdom. But this is probably one of the most humble things that growing older has taught me. Our bodies will constantly communicate with us. If we ignore them, they will speak to us more urgently after first speaking softly. Old age isn't the cause of the odd tingle in your feet, the dull ache in your lower back after stretching, or the loss of balance that feels like clumsiness. Your body is telling you to be kind by tapping you on the shoulder. I've been carrying you for a while. Now please look after me. You see, we didn't think when we pushed through pain when we were younger. Not because we didn't experience agony, but because we thought that strength meant disregarding it. We ran harder, leaped higher, and lifted heavier. We believed that resilience was the capacity to bear hardship. However, resilience is now a very distinct concept. It lies in our capacity to accept, modify, and honor the body that has been bestowed upon us, despite its ever-changing state. I'm 90 years old. I've witnessed the passing of the seasons and the fall of strong people, not because they were weak, but rather because they failed to notice the silent toll that was taking on their nerves, feet, and equilibrium. They were unaware that the workouts they had relied on for years were gradually eroding their foundation. They were unaware, as no one informed them. Now that I've lived long enough to see the reality behind the surface, I'm telling you this not as a trainer or a doctor, but because movement is still vital. Movement must now originate from a place of intention rather than intensity, even though our bodies yearn for it. We no longer have anything to prove. Right now, we must safeguard what remains, maintain the independence we value, and put safety before perspiration. Please don't ignore it if you've ever had foot numbness following a bike ride, walk, or stretch. Your nerves are whispering that something isn't quite right when you feel numb. Ignoring it now could lead to something much more serious tomorrow. So while it's nothing to be afraid of, it is something to honor. I now consider my feet to be silent companions that have accompanied me on every journey through life, rather than only being instruments that help me get around. They have supported me through love, grief, joy, and pain. They have run, tripped, danced, and remained motionless in awe. They are now deserving of compassion. They deserve well-fitting shoes, restorative workouts, and a pace that honors the years they've put in. So does yours. Slowing down, not because you have to, but because you want to, has a certain dignity. Selecting activities that offer something back, something enduring, something restorative, rather than making you work harder, has its advantages. It's not about doing what you used to do in this stage of life. Right now, it's about doing what's best for you. This could entail walking less but smarter, stretching less but more mindfully, and replacing your old habits with ones that keep your feet safe, your worries at bay, and your balance stable. Your future can still be shaped by you. You still have important options. You have the option to prevent numbness from developing into something more harmful. You don't have to wait for a fall or fracture to teach you the lesson. Every step you take today, whether it's slow, assisted, or in a pool, makes a statement, so you can start out slowly but purposefully. This body is still important to me. I still cherish this existence. I still have faith in the future. So, from senior to senior, look after your feet. More than just your foundation, they are. They serve as a link between you and all of your remaining destinations. Furthermore, let me reassure you that it is never too late to alter your intended direction. There's always time to make a change. It's never too late to pay closer attention to your body. Furthermore, it's never too late to proceed wisely rather than unsure of where to go. Choose the kinder route. You'll be shocked at how powerful it feels. The purpose of these lectures is to encourage you to live life to the fullest and most genuine. I would be delighted to hear from you now. Think for a moment, then share one item you've learned that you want to use in your own life. On this path of accepting these realities, let's help one another. Please give this video a 1 in the comments if you liked it. If not, you are welcome to leave a comment with a 0. Your opinions are very important to us. For more videos like these, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, and share our videos. I appreciate you viewing, and I hope you enjoy living your life as you see fit.